Good evening and welcome to Matt's Cooking. Tonight I'm doing one of my personal favourites. There is one thing I should mention is you do need an ice cream churn to make this ice cream. Back to the ingredients. What we've got here is we've got 300 ml of light cream, which we'll put into our pot, and 500 of skim egg yolks, which I've pre-done, and a couple of egg whites, whole eggs. And I'm just going to separate those. Now these eggs are from my chickens in the back garden. We have 75 grams of raw sugar. And we're just going to mix that up. What I'm making here now is traditionally known as an glaze. So this has got 8 egg yolks, 75 grams of raw sugar, 300 light cream, and 500 skim milk. Now, back in the old days when I was in the kitchen, I used to work on around about 100 ml of liquid to 1 egg yolk. That will set your milk that you mix with your egg. So that's all done there. And last but not least, dark chocolate. Now there's 300 grams of dark chocolate there. There seems a lot, there is a lot, and it's really, really nice. And for the chips we have 100 grams of chocolate, which I'll chop later. So what we're going to do now is over to the stove. You just want to get your milk warm. And you add it to your egg yolks. Come up to the milk and cream mixtures, come up to a simmer. We don't want to boil this because it will scald the milk. And then what we do is just pour it into the egg mix, whisking at the same time. Now you mix it all in. This recipe makes around about 1.5 litres of ice cream. So you give that a bit of a whisk. You want it on about 3/4 heat, and now you do the slow process of just bringing it back up to the simmer, and all that foam will slowly disappear, and you'll end up with a reasonably thick custard. Now, being eggs, if you overcook them, they'll scramble. So just be careful that you don't want to scramble your egg mix, because if you do, it's ruined. You can save it. You can put it in your blender and see if you can blend it back up to be nice and smooth, but you don't really want to get to that stage. So if you're a bit unsure of how far to take it, just turn your heat back down and just slowly cook it out. All you're doing is just cooking out the egg, so you lose that egg flavour, and it becomes more of a little bit of a sugary flavour, like a custard. Basically, is a custard, and you can feel it when you're stirring. You can feel it on the bottom of the pan with your spoon. That sometimes it's just starting to catch a little bit. If you feel that, you just turn the heat just down a little bit. There's a difference in the froth. The froth's actually going back through the egg mix, and it's getting pretty close. And being on glaze, it will coat the back of your spoon when it's about ready. It looks very, very rich. Thicker and thicker. You can just tell now, at every stage you'll see it's just getting nice and thick. It's just starting to coat the back of the spoon. Just like that. It's leaving a film. So what we'll do, just give a tiny whisk to bring anything off the bottom, and then back in to pot. Now I'm just going to show you this right there. It's just cooked. That's perfect. It's just cooked. Once you've cooked it out, in goes the chocolate, and that will stop it cooking. That will cool it down. So, here, and there, just stir that around. Chocolate will melt pretty quickly. Yeah. So this recipe, you will have to leave it overnight. You just can't cook it up and then put it straight into your ice cream machine. You have to let it cool down, get room temperature, put it in the fridge overnight, and it'll set. It'll set really, really firm. Just give it a whisk, and then it should be right to go into your ice cream machine. Chips. So all we're doing is just cutting the chocolate in the chips. And this goes into your ice cream once it's just about finished, just about churned. Here we are next morning, finished chopping the chocolate. We've got some nice big chunks of choc chip in there for the to go through the base once it's finished. And the ice cream base itself, as you can tell, it's been in the fridge overnight and it's quite firm. What we're going to do is just knock that back so we can put it in our ice cream machine. We just want to knock that back just to get a little bit of liquid happening now with it. Now, this is a very versatile recipe in a way of you can use a similar recipe like this, or the same recipe, but just less of it, and increase the chocolate. So then what that will do is the chocolate will set and you get a mousse. You know, so basically you could half this recipe, so 4 egg yolks, 400 mils of cream and milk, and 300 grams of chocolate, make the same method, leave it in overnight, pour it in smaller containers, and you'll have yourself some nice chocolate mousse. So another one for the dinner party. So what we're going to do now is we're going to churn this, and it'll take in the churner around about 35 to 40 minutes. So we'll just come over here, turn the churner up, pour it in, and about 40 minutes later you'll end up with a really nice. But now we're halfway through churning our ice cream, so if Joe would like to just come over here and have a look at the machine, but as you can tell, you just go right in there, Joe. It's getting really thick, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in and I'm just going to scrape the ice cream down the side in the machine just by using a steel spoon, and that will just take the ice cream off the edge of the bowl, because this bowl's been frozen and it gets a little bit hard being chocolate, and just put it back into the ice cream itself. And I'll just give you a little demonstration, see? Nice and thick like ice cream. Not long now, another 20 minutes, should be done. Okay. Alright, so here we are at the stage to add the choc chips. So as you can tell, the ice cream's like, it actually is ice cream now. So what we're going to do is just going to add the choc chips. Put that in the middle. Put a spoon in. And fold it over. So that is now ready to come out of the ice cream machine. So now down. And put it into the freezer. To cook. No, it's already cooked, mate. This is, well, we haven't cooked it. We cooked the ice cream base. No. And that is it. All done. Goes in the freezer about 2 or 3 hours, and you should be able to eat it after about 2 or 3 hours. Preferably the next day. That's Matt's cooking, and see you next week. Bye. No, tomorrow. Huh? Up to date with all the videos that I'm doing in this series of Matt's cooking. I'd love you to subscribe, and when you subscribe, you get an up-to-date link straight away. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye.